Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to How to Get Your Fashion Brand on Retail Shelves, even if you're just starting out. I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this workshop. I know you could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here and learn with me. So I am so grateful and I value your time so much. So, in today's workshop, I'm going to be showing you how you can go from struggling to grow your fashion brand beyond online to transforming your brand with lucrative retail partnerships. How does that sound? Pretty good, right? All right. Before we get started, I want to quickly define what wholesaling is. And I know most of us understand the whole concept of wholesale, but I want to talk about it from the context that we'll be talking about it today. So, fashion wholesale specifically refers to the process of selling either your clothing brand, accessories brand, or any related product in bulk quantities to retailers. So, that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to get started selling your brand in bulk to retail stores. But before we get started, I think it's only right that I introduce myself to you. I know some of you have been to my workshops before, but for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Jasmine, and I am the founder and CEO of Make Good Fashion. And at Make Good Fashion, we teach aspiring and emerging fashion designers how to start, launch, and grow impactful fashion brands. I've been working in the fashion industry for over 14 years now, which sounds crazy to say, but I got my start going to FIDM and I worked in everything from design to sales and even successfully ran my own fashion brand. That landed me in on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. And although I'm no longer under 30, it's still an honor that I hold near and dear to my heart. I am also an educator within the fashion space, and I'm just so excited to be your instructor today. So, thank you for allowing me to introduce myself to you. Let's go ahead and move on. I always love to start off with a little icebreaker. And so I would love your full participation wherever you're watching from. So let's hop in. So, on the left side of your screen, you're going to see three logos from some pretty well known brands that you may recognize. And these brands are considered three of the most valuable brands in the world. And when I say valuable, I mean in terms of revenue. So, we have Nike coming in at 42.5 billion. We have Adidas coming in at 16.1 billion and Gucci at 18.9 billion. So these brands are making a lot of money. So here's my question for you, and I want you to answer this wherever you're watching from. So I want you to tell me, wherever you're at, which of these brands that you see here have retail partnerships through wholesale, meaning you can find these brands in stores other than their own e commerce site or their own brick and mortar store. So, do you think it's A, Nike, B, Adidas, C, Gucci, D, Nike and Adidas, or E, all of the above? So, take a second to think about that. And I'm just going to get a little drum roll going. And if you answered that the answer is E, all of the above, you got that correct. So these three brands, three of the most valuable fashion brands in the world, all utilize retail partnerships through wholesaling their fashion brand. And I truly believe this is the reason why they are considered three of the most valuable brands in the world, because they haven't just relied on selling through their own online store, their own stores. They also have taken advantage of the opportunity to sell into other stores. And so there is just so much power in wholesale. And not only have those brands figured that out, these brands that you see here on your screen, some of them may be some of your favorite brands, some of them you may own in your closet right now. But these brands, one thing that they all have in common is that they all started their business exclusively direct to consumer. So they came out on the fashion scene and they said, like, we are going to sell our brands exclusively through our online store and our own stores. And not long after, all of these brands have all started to incorporate wholesale into their business model. And so that just again goes to show what how powerful retail partnerships through wholesaling is for a fashion brand. Now, before we get to the meat of today's lesson, I need to do a few quick announcements, so please bear with me. And before we get started, I need you guys to get all the distractions away from you because we're going to be going through this really fast and I don't want you to miss anything. If you're anything like me, you probably have a million tabs open right now in the background of your screen. If you haven't already, grab your favorite snack, get a pen and a paper because you're going to want to take notes. So, this workshop will be an hour, and this hour is going to go by super fast. So, stick with me, and I'll also share with you at the very end where you can get your questions answered. So during the workshop, anytime you hear something that just like really sparks your attention or you're learning something really good, please feel free to share that on your Instagram stories and tag at Make Good Fashion. And I'll be sure to repost whatever you share so we can just spread the wealth of knowledge. And also, as a special thank you for just being here, I have a free gift for everyone who stays to the very end of the workshop, and that is our wholesale marketplace list. And this list is an invaluable resource. You guys, I cannot stress it enough, and I need you to get your hands on this. So, what a wholesale marketplace is basically a marketplace where brands can apply to have their brands displayed, and it puts you in front of tons of retail stores who are looking to bring on brands just like yours into their shops. So it's pretty much a search engine for retail stores. So this wholesale marketplace list gives you a list of platforms like that you can go ahead and apply to as soon as you hop off of this workshop. And so this is all yours if you stay to the very end. And lastly, I'm super excited to announce that the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass is open for enrollment. And if you're not familiar with what the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass is, this is our exclusive program that gives you step by step guidance on how to start wholesaling your fashion brand. Of course, you're going to learn a lot of information today that you can implement, but it is just humanly impossible to tell you every single thing you need to know within that 60 minutes. So program is for people who want to take it a step further, who are really serious and want that guidance from an expert. And I'll be sharing more about this program at the very end. For those of you who are like, I'm ready to go all in. But don't worry, my friend, you will 100% get so much value from this free workshop alone. I know some of you may have been to some of those webinars or workshop where it feels like the whole thing is like a sales pitch. Like you leave wondering, did I even learn anything? And I can promise you, this is not going to be one of those. My goal is always to give you actionable value that you can implement in your business as soon as you hop off. So you can rest assured with that. So I want you guys to imagine something with me. So imagine if on your online shop, a customer came on and ordered, let's say, like 50 pieces of one of your items. So maybe you have dresses, and one customer in a single transaction orders 50 pieces of those dresses. How would that feel? Pretty amazing, right? Like one transaction, 50 pieces, I'm done for the day. Like I've hit my sales goal. That sounds amazing, right? Well, this is what's possible and what it will feel like when you sell your fashion brand in bulk to retail stores. You can get a single order for 50 pieces, but not only just 50 pieces, you can get an order for 100 pieces. And as you grow, it can look like 1,000 pieces. And you guys, this is not just a theory. This is the reality of what is possible with retail partnerships through wholesaling your fashion brand. And I say this out of experience because all of these orders that you see here on the screen, this order for 29,000, this order for 120,000, this order for 33,000, this order for 11,000, 18,000, all of these orders are real life orders that I have received from wholesaling my fashion brands. And I want to show you how you can get orders like this for your brand as well. But first, I want to tell you a little short story about my journey in wholesale. So, I always saw brands in my favorite stores, but I had no idea about how they got there in the first place. I don't even think I thought twice about it. I just was like, wow, I love this store. It has all of my favorite brands in it, right? And it wasn't until 2011 when I landed my first big girl job in the fashion industry as a wholesale sales representative. And what my job was, which I didn't even know existed, by the way, was to represent brands and get them into retail stores. So the first company I worked at was called Open Showroom. And for those of you who are not familiar with what a showroom is basically a physical location that houses multiple brands for the purposes of selling, right? So When you wholesale your fashion brand, you can do it in-house, wherever your office is or wherever you work from, or you can hire out a showroom to represent your brand. And so this is where I worked, a showroom. And our brands were worn by celebrities like Billie Eilish, Rihanna, and Beyoncé. So there was a lot of buzz around this brand, and we were able to get this brand into stores like Nordstrom, Urban Outfitters, so many boutiques across the world. And so this just really showed me how retail partnerships worked and what stores were looking for, how to work with retail buyers. And so I learned so much from my time here. And after that, I began assisting sales at Nana Suzuki showroom in Paris, which was an amazing opportunity. And at this showroom, I was able to work with higher end brands. And so representing these higher end brands internationally really gave me a full scope of wholesaling, right? I had that domestic perspective from working in the US, but I also had this international perspective and like what it took to sell your brand at this level. And after helping bring in over seven figures for the brands I represented, I realized the power of wholesale for fashion brands. And when I started my own brand, I used some of the same strategies. And one of my first wholesale orders made me $40,000, you guys. And this was amazing for an independent brand that was kind of just starting out. It allowed us to funnel that money back into our business and grow even bigger. And from there, I was able to get my brand stocked in top retailers like Madewell and Macy's, to name a few, as well as a lot of other amazing stores and boutiques. And since I've started my journey in wholesale, I've done work with retailers like the ones that you see here on your screen. So all of that goes to show the just how much opportunity there is in retail partnerships. So obviously I just showed you the benefits in terms of sales, right? But there's also brand exposure. You'll be able to be exposed in regions that you would have never been able to solely being online, and not only that, your customers are able to try on your goods in person and really get a feel for your brand. Aside from that, you also have enhanced brand credibility because when your brand is stocked in stores like these, it almost like it gives your brand this cosign from this store. Like this is a credible brand, right? And then best of all, for those of you guys who have purpose driven or impact driven fashion brands, you get to bring your impactful brand mission into the world. And so this is an incredible opportunity. So if you're thinking to yourself, Jasmine, I want to take advantage of the opportunities in wholesale and see my brand stocked in retail shelves. Well, friend, I'm about to show you how to get started. And my goal for you is that by the end of this workshop, you will be ready to begin reaching out to retail stores. However, I must warn you, my friend, that if you leave, you will miss out on essential strategies and insights that can significantly boost your sales. And you're going to risk falling behind your competitors who have already started successfully wholesaling their brands and expanding their market reach. And I do not want that for you. So let's go ahead and start with some myths because I feel like something I commonly hear from people is like, Jasmine, I really want to get my brand into retail stores. I see that there's opportunity in it, but I have these fears, right? These fears surrounding wholesaling my brand. And so I want to address those because I want to make sure that we have the right mindset going into this and that you feel confident and aware that you can do this. So let's go ahead and address some of those myths and I'm going to debunk them for you. Okay, so wholesale myth number one, it's too soon to start selling my brand to retail stores. I need to be more established. I hear this one quite often, and I wanted to debunk it with one of my students, Constance. So, Constance launched her company a year ago and feared it was too soon to start wholesaling her products. But with my encouragement and coaching, she finally decided to take the leap. I let her know that it was okay to start small. Like she didn't have to take on those huge orders. She could start with smaller boutiques and more manageable boutiques since she is a solo entrepreneur. And so, with my encouragement, she took the leap. And within 60 days, she received not one, but three orders from retail shops and a reorder, meaning that one of the stores loved her product so much that they ordered again within those 60 days of ordering. And as you can see here on the left hand side, Constance sends me a message and she's like, I got another wholesale order. I think my face is like covering it, but that's what it says. All right. So, again, friend, you can completely start small. It's completely possible to start right where you're at. Okay, so wholesale myth number two. I can't make money with wholesale. I don't have enough margin in my prices. So this is another common one because, a lot of brands when they start with direct consumer in mind, so they're not creating that margin that needs to be in place when you're selling to retail stores because obviously you're selling at a wholesale price, so you're selling at a discounted price, so you need to make sure that you're going to make enough money even when doing that, right? So let me go ahead and debunk this myth with my own story. So I started my brand direct to consumer and didn't see how I could possibly make enough money. I knew that there was power in wholesale and that I eventually had the idea to wholesale my brand, but I wanted to start with lower price points. And so I never considered the fact of adding that margin into my brand. But I started doing a couple things to make sure that I could make money as I started wholesaling my fashion brand. So one of those things is that I started sourcing new fabric vendors. So I had to expand my network and find new vendors that would have the same product quality that I loved in my textiles, but were able to provide those materials at a lower price point so that I could drop my cost of goods sold. I also started finding production that would be better. So for example, I had a factory that I was working with at the time, and I knew I could get my prices down if I just explored a little bit more and found a factory that charged a little less. And so I found a new factory. And then I also increased my prices. But even though I increased my prices, I made sure that it was still in alignment with what my target customer could afford. Another thing that I kept in mind was that when would start wholesaling, I would start selling orders in bulk, right? So when you're producing in bulk, that means that you're buying more fabric, you're getting more quantities made in production, so your prices naturally come down. And as a result, I was able to increase my margins and started making a profit from my wholesale partnership. And to be transparent with you guys, most of my brand revenue ended up coming from wholesale. So it was completely worth it making those little tweaks and changes and creating more margin in my product because I was able to take advantage of all the opportunities available to me with wholesale. And the third myth I want to address is wholesale is dead. And this is simply not true, you guys. As long as there are retail stores out there, there will be a need for products. So why not yours? Why not your product filling those retail stores? So there was some data by Ebis World that stated that in 2023, in the US alone, there were 194,306 clothing boutiques out there. This is not including department stores. This is not including specialty stores, like, say, maybe like a Costco that primarily sells food, right? But they also have a section for clothing. So this is not including all of those other opportunities. So this just goes to show there are an abundance of stores out there. And I don't want us to have this limited mindset of like, there's not enough stores out there. Stores are going out of business. There absolutely is. And so we need to take advantage of that and fill those stores with our products. So let me just go over the wholesale process in a nutshell. So this is how it works. So, step one, you're going to create a beautiful collection, right? You're going to design a beautiful collection. And after that collection is designed, the next step naturally would be to sample those designs, right? So, you get your samples made. And once you have your samples made, you want to go ahead and pitch and present your brand to retail buyers. Now, when I say retail buyers, I don't mean the customers that come and shop in the stores like you and I. Retail buyers are actually individuals who are hired by a retail store to select what goods are going into that store, right? So this is a person you want to speak to when you are pitching your collection, the store's retail buyer. So you'll pitch the collection, whether it be through email or in person through an in-person appointment at a trade show or, them visiting your office or showroom or vice versa. And after that, prayerfully, you're going to receive a really nice order. Once you get that order from that retail shop, it's your responsibility as a brand to fulfill that order. And so you're going to produce that order or fulfill it from your existing inventory. And once that order is ready to ship to that retail store, you're going to ship it off and then you get paid by that store for the items that were shipped to them, right? And so this is a process that continues each and every season because we don't want to just try to sell one time. We want orders on repeat, right? So this is the wholesale process in a nutshell. And so today, what we'll be covering from that process is one of the strategies you can use to get your brand in front of retail buyers and get your brand into retail stores, right? So, the first step we'll be talking about is how to find the right retail partners for your brand to be stocked in. Because not every retail store is going to be a good fit for your brand. So, I want to show you how to identify that. Step two, we're going to be talking about how to reach out to those retailers with a compelling brand pitch. So, after you have kind of discovered what the best retailers are for your brand, then I'm going to show you how to reach out to those retailers. After that, we're going to talk about, and lastly, we're going to talk about how to secure a mutually beneficial partnership because we want to make sure this partnership isn't just good for you as a brand, but also makes sense for the store so that it can feel fair all the way around and you can continue to build a lasting partnership with these stores. Sound good? All right, let's go ahead and get into step one. So, step one, identifying the right retail partners. So, first, you need to create an ideal retailer list. So I want you to dream with me. So I want you to take a second and I want you to close your eyes if you need to, but take a second to just dream up your dream stores that you see your brand being stocked in, right? So maybe you see you dream of seeing your clothing stocked in a Nordstrom or a Bloomingdale's or a Saks Fifth Avenue, or maybe it's just a local skate shop nearby. I want you to just think about that for me and I want you to write that down. So take a second to do that. And as you're writing, we're going to go ahead and move on just for the sake of time. But we're going to go ahead and talk about how to find more of those retailers, right? Because you have those dream ones that you have that you can think about right off the top of your head. But it's really important that we just don't list like five really, big stores that you want to be in, but we want to create a robust list of potential retail stores because we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. We want to make sure that we are putting our eggs in multiple baskets so we get the most opportunity to be stocked in these retail stores and really grow our brand and grow our sales, right? So, this is how we're going to go ahead and build this potential or dream retail list. So, the first way I want to talk about is through utilizing the internet online. So, one way you can build upon this list is through a competitor or like brand stock list. So, I want you to think about a brand that is maybe similar to yours or already stocked in some stores that you want to be stocked in, or maybe one of your competitors. And I want you to go to their websites. And when you go to their website, if you scroll all the way to their footer, and they're already stocked in retail stores, they should have a little thing called a stockist, like you see here circled in red. And what a stockist is, for those of you who don't know, is it's basically a list that shows every retail store that brand is stocked in. And the reason why this is important to kind of research is because if a brand that is similar to yours are stocked into retail stores that you wanna be in, you wanna go ahead and see what other stores they're stocked in because maybe that will be a good potential fit for you too. So once you go to the stock list and you start seeing these different stores in different states that this brand is stocked in, I want you to go visit that store site and then gather some information from them. So just look at the site, look at the store, see if it may be a good fit, if you can see your brand being stocked in there, and then you go to the contact page, get an email for them, write the store name down. I like to get like an Excel list, put the name of the store, put an email for them, and any contact information that's available to me. So, phone number, any of that. So, that's one of the ways you can start researching. Another way is through search engines. Like, let's say that you have a street and skate brand. You can type in streetwear stores in California or wherever you want to look or wherever you're located, and just do some research in that way. You can look on social media platforms, ChatGPT, which I want to show you how this can work for ChatGPT. You guys, I am obsessed with ChatGPT. I use it at least like once or twice a day. More than that, I'm like being modest. But let me show you how this can aid you in your research of finding those potential retail partners that will be a great fit for your brand. So, let's say that I had a sustainable swimwear line. So, I typed into ChatGPT, as you can see here. I have a sustainable swimwear line. Can you give me a list of stores in San Diego I can sell to wholesale? The reason why I put San Diego strategic, because I know that if I have a sustainable swimwear line or swimwear line in general, I'm going to try to hit up all the beach cities, right? So I need to research every coastal city, beach city, whatever. And so San Diego being a beach city, I know that there's going to be a lot of like, swimwear surf shops. around there. So this is probably going to be a great fit for my brand. So within seconds, ChatGPT gives me a whole long list of stores in the San Diego area that may be a great fit for my brand. And from here, I can again visit these stores' websites, see if it's a good fit, and go ahead and continue adding that onto my potential retailer list. There's also LinkedIn, which is a great resource, and then wholesale marketplace platforms, which is what I shared with you earlier. That's going to be that free gift if you stay to the end. So this is an example of what a wholesale marketplace looks like. So basically, your brand will have a brand page. Where your products will be listed and retail buyers can go directly on your brand page and just order directly off of here. So, this is not so much for researching your potential retail partners, but this is more so that you can be exposed in front of tons of retailers and have them find you. So this is just a way of positioning your brand to be found by retailers as opposed to researching them on your own. So this is again, great way to get started and I'm providing that resource for you if you stay to the very end. Okay, so the next way that you can research potential partners is in person. So it's as simple as you guys like thinking about your surroundings, right? Think about the city or the state that you live in and some of the boutiques that you've seen around or stores, standalone stores you've seen around. And then going to those stores in person, right? Going to the store in person, confirming that, like, yeah, this would be a great fit for my brand, and going in and grabbing a business card, right? Asking the store associate if you can get contact information for the store buyer or what the best email would be to reach out to them. And so that's how you would do it in person, visiting any stores that you think would be a good fit around you, or even when you're going on vacation, kind of taking a look around your surroundings and visiting stores that way as well. And then the last way I want to talk about is trade shows. And trade shows are industry events. These are specifically for brands who are wholesaling, right? So brands will set up a booth and it's like an exhibition for over that happens over 3 days. And thousands of retail buyers from across the country usually come to these trade shows with the specific intention to buy brands and discover brands for their retail shops. So this is a great way to just get in front of retail buyers. It is an investment. It does cost to participate in a trade show, and you do have to be accepted to join. But this is a great way to position yourself right in front of retail buyers. And even when they don't place orders directly at the show, you can grab their contact information and build a relationship from there. So here's what to look for when you're compiling information and researching for potential retail partners. So, one thing you want to look at is you want to ask yourself, does this store align with your brand identity and positioning, right? So every brand has its unique aesthetic, it has its unique values and mission and all of that. And so you want to make sure when you're looking at these stores, whether you're researching online or going in person, that you're really figuring out, could I see my brand being stocked in this store? Does it make sense for my brand? Or does this look like it's speaking to a completely different customer? So be honest with yourself about that because the more that you can filter this information, the better chances you have of actually being stocked in that store and it being a right fit for you, right? The next thing you want to ask is, would your target customer shop at this store? Does this look like a place that your ideal customer that you want to be shopping from your brand, does this look like a store that they would shop at? You should ask yourself that. The next thing you want to think about is, what other brands does this store carry? Are those brands in alignment? Would my customer also enjoy these brands? Because then they would probably shop this store too. And can I see my brand position next to these brands as well? And then lastly, you want to make sure the price point is aligned with your brand. So usually stores have a price range, right? They sell clothing within a range or accessories or whatever. And so you want to make sure that you fit somewhere within that range. So if you are someone that has like a graphic tee business and you're selling t-shirts at like $20 and you want to be in a Bergdorf Goodman, that's probably not the best fit for you, right? Because Bergdorf Goodman is a very high end department store. So they probably are going to look at your thing, see your price point, and say, this is not in alignment with what our target customer spends. And so you want to just keep all of that in mind. So, some information you want to gather when you're doing this research. You want to make sure you can get some kind of name, if possible, for the store buyer, an email, and a phone number. These are the three key pieces that you want to start off with. Now, if you're doing your research through those online methods, Usually on a store's website, you're going to see an email, maybe a phone number too, if it's a brick and mortar store, right? And so, what I like to do, because I want to make sure I have a name to address my email to, because there's a better chance that you're going to get your email answered. So, I would call the store and ask them, hey, I have this brand. I think it would be a great fit for your store. Do you guys have a buyer's contact that I can have to send information to, or what's the best email or name to address it to, right? So that you can just have the most accurate information. Because also sometimes the email that may be on the website might not be a direct email to a buyer, and you just want to make sure you're getting directly in their inbox. Number two, you want to think about how many store locations and how many doors they have, right? So where is the store located? How many doors do they have? How much potential selling potential do you have, right? So if a store has like 5 stores, you wanna note that down because then you can start to project, like, if we can get into these 5 doors, like, this is what we can do in sales, right? And then number 3, you wanna know, again, what brands are carried at each location and just have a note of that. So when you are compiling your research, you can have some kind of memory of like, "Okay, I remember that store because they carry this, this, and this brand." Another way too is through LinkedIn. So I don't know if you guys can see this on the left side of the screen. I think my face is covering it. My apologies. But you can go on LinkedIn and type in, let's say you want to be in like a PacSun, right? You can go ahead and type in PacSun in LinkedIn, and it's going to pull up a list of retail buyers for PacSun. And usually bigger stores like a PacSun or chain stores like that have different departments of buyers, right? They have like a menswear buyer, a women's buyer, things like that. And so you can look up that information, and contact them directly on LinkedIn, which is incredible. So that's just another little bonus tip there. And I just want to look at a case study of a brand who does this well. A brand who formed retail partnerships that really made sense for their brand and is alignment with who their customer is and what their brand is about. So most of you may know Patagonia, and Patagonia is like a premium outdoors brand, right? And so Patagonia has partnerships with REI and Nordstrom. And for those of you who don't know what REI is an outdoor specialty retailer. And so they sell outdoor goods, outdoor wear, and then obviously Nordstrom's is an elevated department store, right? And so when Patagonia formed this partnership with REI, it made complete sense because REI and Patagonia both have these outdoor missions and this environmental mission that really speaks to their target customer base, right? And then with Nordstrom, although it's not an outdoor store, they are more of a premium price point, right? And so is Patagonia. So it just made sense there as well. So again, you want to make sure you're aligned with price point and align with, either your values or your brand aesthetic in that way. Okay. So step 2, now that we've researched our potential retail partners, now it's time to reach out to them by crafting a compelling brand pitch. I'm going to talk about the different components that should be included when pitching to retailers, whether you're saying it verbally with an in person appointment with the buyers or if you're emailing your pitch. So, one thing that it needs to include is your brand story, and you want to keep your pitch really concise. So, you got to try to get your brand story into a couple sentences, and you want to learn how to communicate your brand story really effectively so that it creates this emotional connection with your buyers. I think that especially for emerging designers, it's not enough for brands just to have cute clothes anymore. You want to have some kind of story and mission behind it. So make sure that you are able to communicate that effectively. Next, you want to also, in your brand pitch, identify the retailer's needs, right? You want to gain insights into the retailer's needs or and preferences, right? So one way you can do this is see where you can fill a gap within that store's current offering. So when you look at all the brands in that store, what can you do? Like, where can you fill a gap? What don't they have that your brand can offer? You can also look at this from a perspective of like trend, right? Now, you don't have to be a trend based brand, but I encourage brands to implement trend in some way. And there's a lot of different trends that are happening at once, right? So, like, if you think about it, one thing that was big in the recent years has been this like, this quiet luxury trend, this minimal luxury, looks like you live in Martha's Vineyard or something like that. And so you will see that retailers are selecting more of that kind of stuff within their curation, right? And not that they only carry that stuff, but they consider that people are looking for this trend because it's in demand. That's why it's a trend, right? Or maybe one season you'll see that like a certain color trend is really in. And so you want to consider these things, right? Like you don't have to be a trend-based brand, but how can you incorporate some of the trends that are going on, whether it be color trends, print trends, or a certain aesthetic, knowing that buyers are looking to serve their customers well and their customers may be looking for some of these things. So, just something to keep in mind. And you also want to include highlighting your USP, which is your unique selling point. What sets you apart? What makes your product different than your competitors or sets you apart from the crowd? Maybe you have a special concept. Maybe it's like you make really cool maternity wear that you can wear in and out of pregnancy. So when you're pregnant, it looks super cute. It's very flattering to the body, but when you're not, it still can be worn. So it's this versatile concept. Think about what makes you different and if you have anything unique like that. And then on top of having those components in your pitch, you also want to prepare a line sheet and a lookbook. And these are just industry standard things. And what a line sheet is like a catalog. It's a catalog that has all the information that the retail store will need to place an order with you. So it has a little picture of your product. It has the product name. It has the style number, the wholesale and retail price. It has the size ranges that it comes in, it has the colors it's available in. It just gives you all the information that you need so you can select it right off of the line sheet. Then you also want to prepare a lookbook. And a lookbook is basically just a book that pictures, right? And yes, your line sheet includes small pictures, but the lookbook should be larger, high-res pictures so your buyers can see what the product looks like. And this is especially important when you are pitching over email because you have to keep in mind they can't see the product right away. So what they're going off of and basing your collection on is the pictures that they see. So you want to make sure that you're including this. And if you guys need a line sheet, if you scan that QR code, it's going to take you to the Make Good Fashion shop where we have a line sheet template available to you that is all formatted to industry standards. So you just have to plug and play and you're good to go. But do not purchase it if you are considering joining the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass because we include all this stuff for free. Okay, so let's look at another brand case study, a brand that knew how to position their brand really well and could pitch it in a way that they would attract some of the retail stores they wanted to be stocked in. So, Reformation is a sustainable women's wear line, and they started direct to consumer and then eventually did some smaller and exclusive retail partnerships. And one thing that Reformation did well is that they positioned themselves as this sustainable, ethically produced brand. And so at the time when they came on the scene, there wasn't a ton of sustainable fashion brands on the scene or women's wear brands that were things that were super cute that you could wear in your daily life, right? And so they could pitch their brand to say, like, this is going to really meet the needs of this customer demand for ethical fashion. And that strategy helped them secure partnerships with stores like Nordstrom and Bloomingdale's. So they spoke to this increasing demand in the market for more sustainable options. And they saw where they could fill a gap with their product where a lot of brands didn't exist in that category at the time. Okay, so now that we have researched all of our potential retail partners, we started to craft our pitch to reach out to them. Now we want to negotiate a successful retail agreement, which means finally sealing the deal with an order. So let's talk about what we need to have in place to be able to get a good order. So let's talk about what we need to have in place to be able to secure one of those agreements. So, the first thing we need to talk about is establishing some key details. Now, these things need to be established before you even reach out to retailers because these are all things that will be included in your line sheet and that buyers need to know. So, the first thing we're going to go over is price. Okay, so when it comes to price for wholesale, we need our wholesale price and our suggested retail price. So the reason why we need this is because we are selling our items in bulk. And so because we're selling our items in bulk, we need that wholesale price. And this is the price that we are selling our goods to the retailer for, right? So if Macy's wants your goods, you would sell them to Macy's at $50 a piece if this was your item here circled in red. And then the suggested retail price is basically what we are saying the goods need to be sold for in their store. Now, your suggested retail price is not just something you're going to be telling the retailers. This is something that should be the same across the board. So, this is the same price you should be selling your goods on your online store, as well as any other retail partners that you do business with, because you don't want to create this competitive landscape where you're selling your brand for one price and another retail store is selling it for another price, because then it creates this competition, and then the stores will kind of become resentful because they'll feel like, all the customers are buying it from you because it's cheaper on your site. So you want to make sure that this is just the same across the board. Next, you want to establish what your MOQ is. And the MOQ represents your minimum order quantity. And the reason why you need a minimum order quantity is because you want to make sure that they're actually ordering in bulk and you can meet your minimums, right? And so you want to advise a minimum order quantity. You want to put one down on your line sheet. And I always recommend minimum order quantity of 4 to 6 pieces per style and color. And this is just a good amount to require, because I feel like it's not too much. Like if you put 10 pieces is your minimum order quantity, then it's going to be quite a challenge to get retailers to want to purchase from you because it feels like a risk. 4 pieces per style and color is a good entry level number. And so you want to just note your minimum order quantity. Next, you need a delivery date and a delivery window. And what a delivery date or delivery window is basically sharing with the retail buyer when these goods will be able to ship to their store. And you want to make sure that you give yourself some buffer room with whatever dates you choose, and that you set a realistic date, because if you do not ship within the time that you advise, those your buyer basically has the ability to cancel that order because you did not stand true to your agreement. So you want to make sure that you communicate with your factory and you get a realistic date of when those goods can ship. And let's say that you have goods that are in stock that you want to sell wholesale or in your inventory, you can just write immediates here. And what immediates means is basically that you can ship those goods out immediately upon order. And next, you wanna have payment terms now. And with the payment terms, you always have to leave this up to for negotiation. So you can have a standard payment terms, but a lot of times retail stores wanna negotiate this, and they have other terms that they wanna abide by. And if you're not willing to be flexible, they could just take the order away and not place it. So this is an example for this mock-up line sheet that this brand is saying their payment terms is that they require a 30% deposit, meaning that when a retail store orders with them, 30% is due at that time. And then 70% pre-shipment means that when the goods are ready to ship, then the retail store needs to pay them the 70% balance. Now, these are ideal terms because if you get a 30% deposit, you have some security there, and also you can put that 30% towards your production, right? So you'll have a little money to use right then and there. And then you can get the rest when the goods are ready to ship. And so this is ideal. But like I said, a lot of retail stores have their own terms that they want to work on. So you leave this up to negotiation, but it's good to have it there because some won't question it and they'll go with your terms. And then you also want to have an order form with terms and conditions. And the reason why this is important when you're getting orders to have your terms and conditions there as well is because you want to make sure you protect your brand, and that everything that you've agreed upon with that retail store, like the amount of items they're going to take in, the delivery date that you've advised, all those little details that we establish, you want to make sure that you get a signature from a retail store buyer on that to make sure that you guys are both agreeing to those terms, and that if there's any disputes later, you have this in writing. So you want to make sure that whether you're using Excel or something, whatever format you're using, if you're in the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass, we have this template for you. But if you are not, that you are just making sure you protect your brand. And then I also want to say that you want to make sure that you're always following up, right? So you always want to follow up because you don't want to just assume, especially when it comes to the pitching. When you're sending emails and pitching, you have to remember that retail buyers have a lot of emails coming in throughout the day. So it's really easy for your email to get lost. So you want to make sure to always follow up after you pitch your brand to just make sure they received it, and also ask for feedback too. Ask for feedback so that if they're deciding to pass on your brand, you know why, and you can work on that for the next time and then pitch again for the next season. So you just don't pitch once, you pitch again, and then you can implement that feedback. You also want to follow up throughout your relationship so you can maintain that retail partnership with that store. And so I want you guys to think about right now, what was the most useful thing you learned today? Well, friend, I want to let you know that there is more where that came from. And if you would allow me, I'd love to talk more about where you can learn more because by now I know you can see how wholesale can transform your brand. And the only thing left is having this clear roadmap and support to make it happen. And that's exactly why I created the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass. And this, once again, is our exclusive program that takes brands step by step with guidance and mentorship through the fashion wholesaling process. So, this is for those of you who have brands and maybe you've already started direct to consumer sales and you know there is more potential for your brand if you expand with wholesale, or maybe you've just started your brand, but this is something you want to implement in your sales strategy. Like this is the program for you. And let me tell you why. So there are 8 modules with the in this program, and I want to share with you and give you an inside look at what you're going to learn. So on module one, preparing your brand for wholesale, this is going to get all the foundational stuff there, right? Because we got to get our brand ready before we hop in. And so I'm going to teach you how to understand the sales calendar, those times of the year when buyers have the most budget, so it's prime opportune time to pitch your brand. You're going to learn about creating your product offering with wholesale in mind. I'm going to teach you what buyers are looking for so that you can make sure that your products are up to par with that. I'm also going to teach you how to price your products so that you know how to get those good profit margins. You can actually make money from your partnerships and so much more, but we got to move on. Okay, so module two, we're going to go even deeper into finding the right retail partners. And I'm going to teach you how to apply to those wholesale marketplaces and also discover retailer development programs, which are special programs by larger retailers to help emerging brands step into working with stores like theirs. And so this is amazing value that you're going to learn here. Module three is crafting your winning brand pitch. And we touched about this a little bit today, but we're going to expand even more. And I'm going to teach you how not only to pitch your brand and give you templates to help you out with that, but also how to schedule those in person appointments and how to conduct them. You're also going to get templates for your line sheet and lookbook. So everything is in here. In module four, we're going to talk all about fashion showrooms versus direct sales. So whether you want to be represented by a showroom, so if you don't want to handle all the sales yourself, you want brand representation with showrooms that have established relationships with those big retail partners. I'm going to show you just how to do that. And also, you're going to get access to our showroom directory, which I'll go into more in a second. Or if you want to do direct sales, I'll show you how to do that too. Module five is going to be all about trade shows. So I'm going to teach you all about trade shows, best practices, how to have a successful show, and all the strategies to make the most out of them. And you're also going to get a list of all the trade shows for fashion brands. In module six, you're going to learn all about negotiating successful retail agreements. And this is going to be going into deeper again, how to get those agreements that are mutually beneficial for you and the store, how to protect your brand. You're going to learn all about the different payment terms, the shipping terms. So this is jam packed with some goodness. Module 7 is about managing your fashion wholesale business. So once you receive the orders, how do you manage everything? This is going to teach you how to efficiently fulfill those orders, understanding routing and logistic guides that you will get for those bigger retail stores that you need to be in compliance with, and building lasting relationships with retail buyers so you get orders on repeat. And lastly, module 8, I'm talking about creating marketing strategies for wholesale success. So, this module is going to talk about how to create buzz around your brand, how to leverage PR for your brand, and also how to grab attention of retail buyers. So, you're not just having to reach out to them, but they're coming to you. So, on top of all of those teaching modules, you're going to get tons of templates and forums to help you run your fashion wholesale business with efficiency. So, like I said before, the line sheets, the order forms, the calendars to know when to produce your goods in time to sell them wholesale, the pricing and costing sheets. You're getting all of that included in here. And on top of that, as I said, you're going to get access to our exclusive showroom directory. And this is an incredible feature, you guys, because this allows you to go through category, if you're in women's, men's, whatever category you're in, and go search through different showrooms. Because a lot of times brands don't know where to find showrooms. So we've compiled them all in one place for you. So if you want representation, all you need to do is go to the showroom directory and start researching different showrooms that might fit your brand the best right there on our platform. And on top of this, so with the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass, we have 2 different tiers. The top tier is the accelerator package, and these are for my students who want more guidance from me directly, right? They wanna speak to me directly. You're gonna get 2 months of our Designers Gathering community. And our Designers Gathering community is amazing because it's basically a forum where you not only get to network with other fashion entrepreneurs, but you get to ask me your questions directly on this message board. I also drop resources, so you can't see in the small font maybe, but here I was dropping a resource for brands that wanted to be stocked in Target. And so all of this is in there. I'm always trying to pour into the community. And then on top of the Designers Gathering community, you also get within that group coaching. So every other week, I do group coaching sessions where I will answer your questions and give you some encouragement and some tips. And then also within the accelerator package, you're getting a brand audit. So I'm looking through all your sales materials. Once you have filled out your line sheet template and your lookbook and your pitch, I'll look over all your materials to make sure they're right in line with what retail buyers are looking for. So let's do a recap of what you're going to get. So you will get 8 modules with video lessons dripped out each week. We drip them out each week because I don't want to overwhelm you and I want to make sure that you have time to implement what you're learning each week. Next, you're going to get those industry forms and templates. And within those industry forms and templates, you're going to get curated resources to help you land your first retailers. You get access to our exclusive showroom directory. And for my accelerator students, you're going to get 2 months of that high touch support through the designer gathering community and that custom brand audit. And for all students, you get lifetime access and customer support for the duration of the program. You guys, I spent like $40,000 on my college tuition and what I would give to have lifetime access to go back and study that stuff. With the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass, you don't have to worry about retaining all the information because it's going to be here for you whenever you want to go back and refresh yourself with that information or whenever you decide to start wholesaling your fashion brand. So you're getting all of this for $498 if you want to go with the essential package. And for those who want the accelerator package, $998. And we have some flexible installment options for those of you who want to break down the payments into multiple payments. For the essential package, you can pay 2 monthly installments of $260. And for the accelerated package, 2 monthly installments of $522. And you guys, this program literally pays for itself. And let me show you how. So, if you are someone who is saying, I'm interested in the accelerator package, it only takes selling 16 pieces, which is probably less than what one order will total to, right? 16 products at $60 wholesale a piece to make your money back. That's all it's going to take to sell. And with the essential package, it only takes selling 10 products, you guys, 10 products wholesale at $50 a piece to make your money back. So this is an investment with return. So what happens next? I think it pretty much sells itself, right? Like all the things you're getting is pretty amazing. So what you need to do is click the button below. There's going to be an enroll button below. And this button is going to take you to the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass landing page. And on this landing page, you'll be able to read more in depth about everything this program includes. And once you have decided, like, yes, I'm all in, I'm ready to invest in my business, you can click the enroll button, any of the enroll buttons you see on the page. And it's going to take you down to this pricing page you see on your screen right now, where you can choose between the essentials package or the accelerators package. And then you can also choose if you want to pay in an installment. So this is the next step. Right now, I need you, if you are someone who's like, I want to expand my brand with retail partnerships, I want to learn more strategies, I want to know exactly what I need to do, click the button below, friend, and join us within the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass. And friend, I want you to feel 100% confident with this purchase. So I want to let you know that there's a 15-day, 100% money back guarantee with this purchase. There was a time when I invested in my education and I purchased a program online and it ended up not being the right fit when I got inside. And then come to find out I couldn't get a refund at the time. And so I had a pit in my stomach because I spent a lot of money on this program. And so I never want any of my students to ever feel that. And so that is why this money back guarantee is here for you. You have 15 days to dig into the program and figure that out. It's there for you. And I also want to just share what some of my students are saying. We have Sharita here, and she says, my experience with a fashion wholesale masterclass was great. I learned so much about wholesale and how to position my collection to be marketable and sustainable. I also had fun learning. The modules and resources were very helpful. The content was engaging, and the instructor was inspiring. Thank you so much, Sharita. I love getting my students value and making sure they win. Then we have Kumi here, which this is a screenshot from our Designers Gathering community. And she talks about how she gets one of her first orders and she wasn't even halfway done with the program yet. And so this is what is possible for you in the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass. So just to recap, I'm going to go through this fast. So, what you're going to get again, you're going to get 8 modules with video lessons stripped out each week. You're getting those forms and templates and curated resources to help you land your first retailers. You are getting access to our exclusive showroom directory. And this is for all of the tiers, right? You're getting everything that's in those check marks. And then for my accelerator students, you're getting that 2 months of high touch support from me through the Designers Gathering community. And then you're getting that custom brand audit so we can make sure your materials are attractive to those retail buyers. And for everyone, once again, you're getting lifetime access and then customer support for the duration of this program. And so if you are ready, you're ready to stop playing small, you're ready to take your brand to the next level, you know that you need to diversify your sales channel and you cannot just solely rely on direct to consumer anymore, then I want you to go ahead and click below. Click below and enroll in the program. There is so much value in this program, and it's something that you can implement in any business that you decide going forward. It's not only principles that work for fashion, but principles that you can use in any product based business that you're looking to wholesale. Okay. Now, if someone told you, my friends, I will give you $10,000 or more in sales, but you need to invest $498 or $998, you would take that deal every time, right? Because this is an investment that can bring back financial return for years and years and years to come. So I just encourage you, invest in your future, invest in your business, and join us in the Fashion Wholesale Masterclass. Into Q&A now. And I see some questions already here. So I see from 1964 Brand says, do we get a one-on-one coaching with you as well during the course? So you get group coaching, which I will say, what I've noticed from the other courses is that our group coaching, a lot of people don't show up every month. So you will absolutely get to ask me your questions regardless if it's group coaching. But if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, that's something separate that we have at makegoodfashion.com. So you can look into that too. And even if you guys can't get your questions asked in the group coaching sessions, rest assured that in the forums of the designer gathering, you can just write me your questions. I am in the designers gathering forum answering questions 24/7. So if you're not able to help on a call, just get on the forums, type in your questions, and I will get to them in a day. We are in group Q&A and we are at the hour mark. I know some of you guys have to go. Thank you so much for being here. But any of you guys who have questions, I am happy to answer them right now. It can be about wholesale. It can be about the course if you guys are interested in doing that. So any questions you guys have, I'm going to stay on here for about 3 more minutes, 4 more minutes and answer any questions if there are additional questions. Okay, so I see a question. It says, what chances do we have to get partnered with retail boutiques after taking this course? So that depends on several things, right? Like in the course, one thing that's important to me because it's important that your brand is positioned correctly too. So one thing that I'm going to be teaching is how to position your brand correctly in terms of like how many products that do you need to have? How do you need to position your collection so that retail buyers actually want to buy what you're selling? So I'm going to make sure we get you right on that point first before anything, and then we'll go into all the other things. But it's really up to your product offering too, right? So you have to make sure you're designing some things that are desirable for those stores that you want to be in, which is why I speak so much on brand alignment with the stores. But again, like I mentioned with our student Constance, she was able to get into retail stores. I can't promise anything, but I will promise that I'm going to equip you with every single thing that you need to secure those partnerships. I can't promise you what stores are going to be interested, what stores are not, but I can teach you how to position yourself in a way that you are offering what they're wanting, right? And so that's what I can say about that. Okay, so I see someone that says, um, what's been most effective route? Online, by foot, trade shows. Why do you think that is? Okay, so at different times, different things. And so online is always a strategy that we have. I think online is and pitching always works well because you can do it yourself. You don't have to wait for someone to come to you. I think trade shows are really great if you can form appointments beforehand, which I'm going to be teaching to in the master class. You want to get appointments and start emailing stores beforehand to let them know you're going to be at these trade shows. So there's a way to go about that. There's also something you didn't mention, which is showrooms. And showrooms are incredible because I think I mentioned before, they already have contacts with retailers, right? So if you can get into a showroom, you have that representation. They already have the contacts that you need. They already have brands that are stocked in some of these stores. So that's another great way. I think it all depends. But you want to be doing multiple things at once is the idea. So you're not depending on one route of researching retail partners. You're trying different things at the same time. And then we have, let me see. Okay, so I see someone saying, I'm very interested. I'm thinking of moving to Atlanta. I live in Pittsburgh. I would love to get celebrities to wear my clothes. Does it matter where you live? It absolutely doesn't matter where you live. If your route is that you want to get celebrities to wear your clothes, which is a great strategy for wholesaling, right? When you have celebrities in your clothes or you're getting publications to write features about your clothing or you're in the media, it helps absolutely because it's going to help stores say like, wow, there's some buzz around this girl. A way that you can go about it is working with PR showrooms, right? So you can work with public relations that can help you to get celebrity placements and all of that. And you don't need to be in a certain city for that because you can ship your goods to different PR showrooms for them to help you get that type of placement, which would absolutely 100% help with your retail strategy. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter where you live. You can do this from anywhere. Let's see. Let me see if I missed any other questions. Okay, that looks like that is all for now. Thank you guys so much once again for being here. Again, if you are interested in learning that step by step process to position your brand for wholesale, learning all the other things you need to know, how to get in contact and form those connections with retail partners, and you want to know that step by step process and you want to go beyond this workshop, for those of you guys who are interested in that, make sure to click the button below. If you click the enroll now button, it's not going to take you to a payment page right away. It's going to give you a page that has more information about that program so you can read more about it. And you guys, this is for people, not only for fashion brands. I know some of you guys have home goods in here, some of you guys have accessories. Any product-based business that you have, this works for. And so make sure to have a look at that. No matter where you're coming from, it's going to help you out if it's right for you. I can't wait to see you in the workshop. If not, thank you so much for being here. Thank you once again for just giving me your time. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that it was helpful for you. And I will see you guys in the masterclass.